Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Georgia and today I'm going to be ranking the characters from Season 3 of Sex Education. If you want to see my uncut reactions for all of Sex Education Season 3 as well as everything else that's covered on the channel, then the link to the Patreon page will be in the description below. I'm just off the back of episodes 7 and 8. I've calmed down my breathing. If you watched my reaction to the season finale and episode 7, to be fair, I was a mess. I was crying all throughout it. I don't quite know what to say on that. I apologise for anyone that sat through me wiping my nose and shedding tears over these characters. Sorry if it wasn't a very interesting reaction. The show just hits too damn hard and I didn't want to completely embarrass myself by trying to speak through my shuddered breaths. We're here, we're ranking the characters of Sex Education Season 3. Disclaimer, I'm doing this solely based on Season 3. So this is not overall at all because that would be way too hard because the show made me love characters that would have been nowhere near the top before. When the show does end and I eventually do a character tier list overall, that's going to be the hardest thing of my life so far. So we have 5 tiers here. We've got You Deserve the World and More. So that's God tier characters. I love them with my whole heart. They deserved everything this season. They carried the season on their shoulders. I Adore You. Characters that I still really loved this season. They didn't really do anything to annoy me. They just weren't as good as the characters on the top tier. I Like You. Characters that I like, but they're pretty much background characters generally. Characters that don't get that much screen time, but they don't do anything that makes me hate them. They're just kind of there, but I do like them. Not really relevant, but you're cool. Characters that appear every now and then. Very rarely. I know a couple of them that will definitely be going in this tier. Characters that didn't appear very much, but they're fine. Pretty much the same as the I Like You tier, but just for even lesser known characters. And then the Piss Off tier. There's a couple that will go in here, or at least one person that definitely will be. Who shall we start off with? I never know where to start, so I obviously don't want to start off with the mains. We'll start off with Eric's mum. Not really relevant, but you're cool. Eric's mum, she's likeable, like we like her. She's looking out for her son. She wanted him to hide being gay in Nigeria, but that's just because she was looking out for him. You know, she seems like she's a good mum. I don't really have anything to hate her for. Not really much to say on her. Anwar's boyfriend, going below Eric's mum. Not really relevant at all. All we saw of him was he used a strawberry flavoured condom on Anwar that gave him a facial reaction. I literally have no opinion on him whatever. Dex, you can go above. Anwar's boyfriend. Last season, he would have been a straight piss off. He really annoyed me last season. He barely knew Viv's name. He was just playing with his Rubik's Cube. He was so cocky about it and I hated him. But this season, he had that really hilarious scene where he was running around naked because he got his clothes taken away and he was trying to measure his penis. He was only in that one episode, I think, wasn't he? So yeah, not relevant at all, but it provided an entertaining storyline in the first episode. Jeffrey. I find Jeffrey hilarious and I love the actor Joe Wilkinson in real life, so there's a bit of bias there, I think. I find him really funny, like the episode he was in, and he was Ruby's dad's weed dealer as well. He had a little bit of a heartfelt moment with Otis as well, so you know, love Jeffrey. Not love, he's cool. Cynthia, she can go in the middle. All we saw of her really was having sex with Jeffrey and crying over her cat this season. She wasn't in it much before this season, but she had even less time this season, so yeah, not really much of an opinion on her either. Eric's dad. Did Eric's dad even have a scene this season? I'm putting him at the very bottom. He didn't even have a scene, I'm pretty sure. Ruby's dad isn't actually on this list. That's a shame. Ruby's dad would go in I Like You, I think. I really liked that scene that they had with her and him, and he seemed like a very good dad and he loves Ruby so much and like he appreciates everything that she does for him. I really liked that scene. Kyle. Not really. He'll go at the top of this category. This is probably all the characters that are going to go in this category. He can go at the top. I really liked his speech in episode 5. It was surprisingly moving, you know. He had an epiphany on that trip and he realised that life is short and you should tell the people you love that you love them. And he is completely right. It's quotes like that that make Sex Education so special and the surprisingly moving moments that really hold this show up for me. Steve is going in I Like You. I do like Steve. He's kind of a background character too. He's only in it because of his relationship with Amy. And I did ship them. I liked their relationship, but she's still struggling with the sexual assault, and I think she was right, she needs to be alone and spend some time working on herself and being comfortable in her own skin again, because she was still really struggling after the events in season 2, and she wasn't good at communicating that kind of stuff with Steve. But Steve, I do like Steve, he seems like he's a really good boyfriend, but Amy just wasn't ready for him at that time, which was a shame. Maeve's mum, oh, actually, I kind of wish there was a tier in between here. Oh, I can't be asked to make another tier. I'll put her at the bottom of I like you. I don't really like her because I think she's been such a bad mum, and she passed off so much of the blame on Maeve. She couldn't see that Maeve was doing the right thing for Elsie. But that scene in the season finale, or was it episode 7? It was episode 7. Oh, and there was a scene in the season finale. That scene in episode 7 where she did make the right choice and let Elsie go was really moving. It's good to see that she does really care about her kids, so she will do the right thing for them in the end. And she gave Maeve the money to go to America in a really moving scene as well. So yeah, she is bumped up a bit, I guess. She can go in the I like you tier. I liked what she did at the end of the season. She redeemed herself slightly. Anwar and Olivia, I'm gonna lump them together. They really didn't have... Wait, is Olivia... Oh yeah, there she is. What was on there? I like Olivia slightly more. I really liked the scene where they comforted Ruby. Was that their only episode? No, surely not. They didn't really have much this season because I feel like Ruby kind of shone over them. But I did really like seeing that new side to their friendship with, like, in the Untouchables group. I never really saw them as a genuine friendship before, but it's nice to see that they are actually friends and they do genuinely care for each other and they open up to each other about stuff. Miss Sands, I don't want to put her in I Adore You. I'll put her in like, I've got to be harsh. I'll put her at the top of like, I really like Miss Sands though. She's such a good teacher. Like, she was always there looking out for them. When she saw that Hope was making these disastrous decisions, she would, like, always talk to the students on the sly, saying that they did the right thing, giving them advice on where to go for sexual health. Like, she really cares about the students. And I really wish she did get a go at being head teacher, along with Mr. Hendricks, who I'm going to put alongside her, slightly below. He is definitely funnier than her, but I do like Miss Sands more. Oh no, but Mr. Hendricks cares about the kids too. I don't know, they're both great and they're such an unlikely couple, but I'm kind of in love with them. And they're going to be moving in together, so I love that for them. They're just two really good teachers in the show. They're so different. She's more of like the laid back, looks out for their work stuff, whereas he's kind of the fun teacher who like is happy to talk to them about sex and things. They're just both really great teachers, and it's rare that I really care about teachers on TV shows, but these two are great. Raheem, season 2, I didn't really care about Raheem because I was just more focused on the Adam and Eric portion of it. But Raheem is actually a good guy, and he was very devoted to Eric. He just creeped me out a little bit because he was kind of a very silent, mysterious guy, but you can tell that he really cared for Eric and he was really disheartened by the breakup. And I loved seeing his friendship with Adam grow this season. That was another unlikely friendship. I love it when they just do that. They put two random characters together and make a friendship out of it, and it somehow works every time. It was helping him with his poetry. Adam took the blame for him when he threw his poo out the window. Like, they kind of had that little rapport, and they're so opposite. He would make fun of Adam's work and stuff, and Adam wasn't like disheartened by it because it was all in jest, even though he has like kind of a deadpan sense of humour. I really enjoyed their little scenes and him helping Adam, who was his like enemy in season 2. But like they found a middle ground where they realised that each other is actually a good person, and they both ended up liking each other. I hope they don't make that a future relationship because I loved the friendship there. I don't think every LGBT character has to get with each other. I'd like for that to just stay a friendship if they decide to continue it. Jakob. I had a very love-hate relationship with Jakob this season. He'll go above Erin in I Like You. I do like him for the most part. I really loved him in season 1. But then this season and season 2, I'm basing this off season 3, but still, I need to talk about it. In seasons 2 and 3, when him and Jean are in relationships, I see where Jean's coming from because he's not... I don't really like him much when they're actually in the relationship. he becomes really silent and broody, and he doesn't talk to her much, I feel like. But then after that scene with the therapist, we learned how his wife cheated on him and then she got sick, so he stayed with her while she was sick and then later died, and he didn't get a chance to grieve over the relationship that was lost before he actually lost his wife. So you get to see a little bit of reasoning there, and he's still pissed off at Jean because she did cheat on him, so it's kind of like history repeating itself with his ex-wife, so you can see why he was hurt. But then in the last episode, I really liked his scene with Ola, and he was kissing Jean on the head while she gave birth, and he was worried that he was going to lose her. He does have feelings, he's just not good at expressing them, and he comes across as a bit robotic a lot of the time, so I'd like to see more of him opening up in order for me to like him more, because he has some quite old-fashioned views and he's quite nonchalant about them, even though they are big deals to Jean. So I hope him and Jean can work on communicating next season. Viv, she would have been in piss off for a lot of this season, but she redeemed herself. She's going above Olivia and Amwell. Season 2 Viv would have been here. But this season, she was annoying for 6 episodes of it, so she's demoted a lot. I'm sorry. She was so focused on just her future, she forgot about her friendship with Jackson, but she came around in the end. She filmed Hope saying those horrible things. She realised that she was only there as the token black girl to be the head of the school. Hope didn't care about her or the rest of the students one bit, and she hosted that epic open day where they said a big fuck you to Hope and made that hilarious video. And she's happy with Eugene now. Eugene was an unexpected surprise. I thought he was going to be a catfish. Turns out he's a very good looking man with a passion for period literature. Who knew? Hope, needless to say, she's going in piss off. She was my most hated character of the season. But we weren't meant to like her, I don't think. Even that scene with Otis at the end, it didn't really make me feel bad for her. She was just too horrible for her to be redeemed in my eyes. The methods that she implemented were horrific. The way she treated Cal was despicable. The way she put the shame signs on the students, the way she spoke to Lily broke my heart. She was just a terrible character, but she was a good villain for the season because they did a good job of making me hate her. Lily. I do like Lily. Her storyline this season I feel like took a bit of time to get going with the alien stuff. She annoyed me at the start because she wasn't really listening to Waller, but then once her identity kind of got stripped away from her, I felt so bad for her and so heartbroken for her because she felt like she wouldn't fit in. She was too scared to go to school because she was getting bullied about her story being published, and she was so excited about it getting published. It's so sad, but I'm glad that she came around in the end and she went to the alien convention and made up with Ola. I'm going to put her in I Like You. She had more of a storyline than Miss Sands and Miss Hendricks, so I'm going to put her at the top of it. Lily is just a good character. She's been consistently good throughout all 3 seasons, to be fair. I'm going to put Ola next to her. They kind of didn't have as much screen time this season, I think, because there was a lot of storylines going on. There was a lot of new characters introduced that took up a lot of time. So, some of the main characters last season got slightly less screen time, which is fine. I am happy with how things turned out for them in the end. Ola's going there. She was mean to Jean at times, but you could understand because she was still grieving over her mum and she was trying to get used to the idea of this new family. And she did have some very heartfelt scenes throughout the season, and I do like Ola. Isaac, top of I Like You. Yeah, that feels right. I really liked Isaac this season. I didn't hate him before the season, as many people did, because he did one stupid thing. All of these characters have done bad, stupid things, so I wasn't going to completely hate him for that because I liked him up until that point. I feel like he really redeemed himself. He got made back on track with her mum, he made her dinner, he told her about the voicemail in episode 2, which was the biggest surprise of this season, to be honest, because the biggest surprise was Mr. Groff's development, but that was a really shocking moment. That scene between him and Maeve where they hooked up was really tender and vulnerable. I loved that scene. That's a standout scene of the season for me, and she kind of broke his heart. I don't know if they're meant to be. I still do think Maeve and Otis are kind of meant to be together because it's what we've always been led to believe. And they do need to get together at some point and have a proper relationship so we can see how it works out. But I really liked his friendship with Maeve. I like him as a character on his own as well. I loved the representation that they got of disabled people having sex. I think he's just a really good character to have on the show, and he really redeemed himself. We kind of got to the main characters of the season now, and it's really hard. Cal. I loved Cal. Such important representation for queer people out there, for non-binary people out there. I have never seen a non-binary person on a TV show, let alone such a mainstream TV show as well. They raised so many points, so many questions that would have been answered for people who didn't know what non-binary was. It showed the kind of prejudice that they can face where they don't fit into either category and then they're forced to pick a side, and that's just wrong on so many levels because it's not who they are. Cal was great. Their friendship with Jackson was another highlight of the season, and Jackson is also gonna go next to them, slightly below, because I felt like Cal was the shining star of that storyline. But the way Jackson was always speaking about what he believed in, even though it lost him his head boy status, always calling Viv out on her shit when she was being so irritating and non-responsive to the issues. Even though they're friends, he didn't let the friendship slide. He would just say, Viv, you're disappointing me. And eventually he led to Viv coming around. So yeah, I love that he stuck up for Cal in every situation there. That was such a good storyline. I fucking love Maureen, to be honest. She was so good this season. Even though she wasn't actually in it that much, but every scene she's in, I'm just filled with warmth because you could see how much she cares about people. You could see how much she's grown from seasons 1 and 2. She's really coming into her own. She's got an active sex life. She's so much more confident than she was before, and that's all thanks to Jean. I love that her friendship with Jean continued and she was there for her in the finale. And her interactions with Amy in the finale was so good as well. What a comedic duo. She really cared for Adam, and even after she found out that Adam and Eric were together, she didn't confront him about it. She waited for him to come to her and tell her, and then she hugged him and accepted him, which was all he ever wanted. Oh, God, Maureen is an icon and I love her. Eric. Ha 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 ha, Eric. Well, season 3, Eric. It pains me to do that. Eric was my favourite character before this season. And now look where he is. I just wish they didn't make him cheat. That's the worst thing, because I didn't like at the start of the season when he was putting all that pressure on Adam to have sex and to come out to his mum. I get that Eric has been out for so many years, but surely he remembers how hard it was. And he didn't seem to have any compassion for Adam in that sense. And the having sex thing too. Eric may have been ready for a long time, and Adam has had sex before but only with girls. And so it's quite daunting when you're just coming out. And Adam was expected to take the lead in the sexual situation. I get that he had had sex before, but that was with a girl. So that's the heteronormative approach, taking hold of him there. Whereas this time he wanted Eric to take the lead, and they weren't communicating very well about that, but that was due to Adam's miscommunication. But I didn't like the way Eric was getting in such a huff about him not wanting to have sex. He didn't know the reason why. Maybe he just wasn't ready, for all he knew, but he was just calling it ridiculous, and I didn't like that at the start, but I kind of got over it because they ended up resolving the issue in the episode. But then him cheating, even if they had them break up at the end of the season for all the same issues, they could have done all of that without the cheating. He could have gone to the club, found his people, felt free in the moment. He didn't have to kiss that guy. But Eric said that he didn't regret it, which I feel like was so heartless for Adam, because of how much Adam has changed because of him. I don't know, it's just because I love Adam so much that it's made me like Eric less because of how much he's hurt him. Eric, I hope in season 4, you're better. That's the thing I'm most unhappy about with this season, is what they did with Eric's character. I loved him outside of everything else. Like, he seemed completely normal in all his scenes with Otis, and I still love their friendship. I always have. But in the relationship with Adam, Eric was so unlikable for me in some situations, and he's been demoted to the 3rd tier. I never thought Eric Effiong would be down there, but here we are. Maeve. Maeve is going in I adore you, because I do still really love Maeve. She's going below Cal, because I do feel like Maeve didn't have as much of a heartfelt storyline this season. Normally in every season she has a load of moments where I feel really bad for her and where like she breaks my heart. She didn't really have that this season, I don't think. She had more romance oriented storylines. There was the scenes with Anna and Elsie. I do still love Maeve. She hasn't changed. She's always been the fiery, stand up for what she believes in, but yet lovely, rebellious girl. One look at her, I would think she would be such a bitch, but she has a heart of gold and I love her. I hated the scene where she argued with Amy. She said some really hurtful things there, and like she completely diminished her sexual assault in that scene, which I really wasn't happy with. But they got over it. They both apologised. They both realised they were in the wrong, but the others were also kind of right. So yeah, I do love Maeve, but I feel like she had slightly less of a role this season, so she didn't have as many storylines that kind of hit hard with me. Yeah, she was just toing and froing between Isaac and Otis for the second half of the season, which wasn't as interesting to me. Jean. I fucking love Jean. I've always loved Jean. She's just such a good character. She's such a good TV mum. She's so questionable in her decisions as well. She's very intrusive in Otis's life. But I really felt for her this season because she was heavily pregnant and she had so many changes going on. Like, she also had to adapt to the changes of Ola and Jakob living with them, because she was trying to make a better situation and better circumstances for her baby by having this family dynamic and reuniting with the father, and it kept getting thrown back in her face. Her and Jakob were having arguments, which brings on stress. Ola and Otis were having a go at her because they weren't happy with the situation, and because Ola wasn't sure about Jean because she was still grieving over her mum and Jean had cheated on Jakob, and Otis was being quite childish because she asked him questions about Maeve, so he told her that she messed everything up. And I really felt for her because she's so pregnant and she's under all this stress and no one really seemed to be helping her out except for Maureen, and she's such a caring person. Like, she took on those sessions with Amy because she really cares about them, and like the only reason she was at the school last season was because she really cares about the students and their sexual health, and that's why she wrote the book about it. And I just feel like Jean didn't get any justice this season because everyone was so mean to her. I'm so glad she didn't die at the end. That scene with her and Otis where they made up was so beautiful, so heartfelt, so raw and emotional. I love their relationship too. Their scenes are always just a goldmine of emotion. Otis, I adore him too. I love him. Oh no, you're not going in top tier this season. Sorry, Otis. He went on quite a journey this season. He started off in the casual relationship with Ruby, which then led to an actual relationship, and then he ended up not being able to say I love you to her, which I really felt for Ruby in that situation, but I'll move on more to that when it comes to her turn. I really liked his arc of the season. He started off just in a casual relationship with the popular girl, not having a care in the world, not caring about Maeve, not caring about the clinic, not caring about helping people, getting the asbestos toilets ripped down. And then by the end of the season, he realised that his heart being broken doesn't mean he can't have compassion for others, and it doesn't mean he should shut all his emotions off completely and stop caring for others. I feel like he had that epiphany, especially after what happened with Jean, because they ended things on a fight and they just fought over something so minuscule and he was behaving like a child over it. He realises that he needs to grow up and talk about things if he wants to, and just not argue with his mum over it, because like he can just say I don't want to talk about it with you, but he gives her the silent treatment and says really hurtful things. I feel like we're really watching him become a man over the course of the whole show. He's had an arc every season, and I feel like he's slowly becoming the best version of himself. I think he's a really great main character, although he wasn't necessarily the main of this season. But yeah, Otis is great and I love him, and I'm undecided about where I am in the Ruby Otis and Maeve Otis ship war. I'm kind of a neither, for anyone wondering. I don't really ship either ship. So Mr. Groff, he's going in You Deserve the World and More. This is so funny to me. He would have been so far down in piss off. He would have been in my sewage system in seasons 1 and 2. But season 3 did such a good job with him. They made me feel for Mr. Bloody Groff. I never would have thought the day would exist on planet Earth, but here we are, 21st of September 2021. Mr. Groff deserves the world. We saw an insight into his childhood. We saw how his brother treats him. We saw him showing that he wants to change. We saw him apologising to Jean. We saw him getting a new passion. We saw him trying to make up with his wife. The only thing we didn't see was him trying to make up with Adam. I really wish we had that scene, and I thought we would for the longest time. But they're saving that for season 4. They must be. I need to see that scene because Mr. Groff and Adam have always had such a horrible relationship. And now they're 2 of my favourite characters, or at least they were of season 3. And I just need to see them interact. I can't believe Mr. Groff scenes made me cry as well. That's the most unreal thing. Mr. Groff. It's so unbelievable. But I love that they did that with him. I love that they've made him likeable. It's just so unexpected. Amy is going in You Deserve the World and More as well. To be fair, I've always loved Amy because how could anyone not love Amy? She's always been a fan favourite and she's never been in my god tier before. Like when I've thought about it, she's never been in my top 5 characters because she's so lovely and funny and all that stuff, but I just loved the other characters so much more. But this season I feel like she really got some shining moments and some great moments of vulnerability. I love that they continued with her sexual assault storyline and we had her going to therapy sessions with Jean. I wish we got to see slightly more of that, but there was a lot going on this season, so. But that fight scene with Maeve broke my heart. Like Maeve making fun of her when all she did was a nice thing. She deserves the world because she just wants everyone else to have the world. Like she paid for Maeve to go on that trip to France because she didn't have the money. And then Maeve slapped it right back in her face and made fun of her baking. I just love her. And she made the vulva cupcakes because everyone's vulva is unique, you know, like she's spreading that message to all the people with vaginas in the school. It's so good. She's so funny. She's always been so consistently hilarious, but she's also got so many heartfelt moments as well, and the actress is so good at playing both of those sides to her. She's always there for Maeve whenever she needs it. Even when they were in the argument, all Maeve had to do was say sorry and she was already helping her again. Like, she's such an amazing person and she truly does deserve the world. Ruby! You deserve the world and more. Another epic character development right here. Ruby and Mr. Groff are the 2 characters that had the most change in my rankings here, because Mr. Groff would have been straight and piss off. Ruby would have been in not really relevant but you're cool in the first couple of seasons. I had virtually no opinion on her whatsoever other than that she's a bitch. And this season showed a completely different, a completely human side to her, and I loved her so much this season. She kind of got underused in the second half, but I feel like she did get a lot in the first half, and her storyline was kind of served a lot around Otis, and after they broke up there wasn't really that much for her to do anymore, so I can understand why they made that decision. But I really loved the scene in episode 7 when she was bitch slapping Hope. That was so funny. She stormed up there and she wasn't allowing her to turn off that presentation, and she was grabbing her, pulling her by the hair, and they had a little bitch fight. That was epic. Ruby is so iconic for that, and I loved getting that insight into her home life, how much she cares for her dad, how normal her home is, even though people expect her to live in some fancy rich white house. She lives in a normal home. She is a normal girl. She has an ill father who she has to care for a lot of the time, and she really loves him, and she really loved Otis too. I didn't expect the relationship to be so serious, and I didn't expect her to be the one to fall for him either, but I really loved seeing a human side to her. It broke my heart that Otis couldn't love her back, even though I didn't ship it that much. I just feel like Ruby deserves so much. She deserves to be loved because she has a very tough home life and she's clearly quite insecure about her image, but she gave all that up for Otis. She was vulnerable for him, and then she didn't end up getting him, and I feel like she deserves a lot more than what she got. And finally, Adam Groff is my favourite character of season 3. This was the easiest decision of the whole list. In case you didn't know, I feel like most people probably would have predicted that, because in the season finale I cried through practically all of his scenes. I loved Adam so freaking much. I already did after season 2. He probably would have been around here after season 2. But season 3, my god, he was the star of the season. We saw how much he was trying to change. He was trying to better himself in school, in his relationship with Eric, and he didn't succeed in either. They really said a big fuck you to Adam in this season, didn't they? And a really big fuck you to my heart. Oh, I shouldn't have said heart. He wrote that poem about him not having a heart, and then he realised he did have a heart. Oh, that was so good. A lot of people were questioning Adam and Eric's relationship in season 2. And I feel like we saw this season how much Adam genuinely loves Eric. Like, he was always there for him. He was messaging him, telling him he misses him all the time. He was saying, I love you. He just couldn't tell his mum. And that's what Eric had a problem with. And I hated seeing how Eric treated him some of the time. Eric was being so pressurizing, and even after Eric told him about the kiss, he said that he thinks he could forgive him. And then Eric broke up with him. Adam got cheated on and broken up with. Adam didn't even get to do the breaking up, even though he was the one that got cheated on. He got hurt twice by Eric there. He was so wholesome as well with the dog training. I'm so glad he got an honourable mention. Oh my god. He didn't win. He didn't get a podium finish, but he got an honourable mention for the best debut. Oh, it's what he deserves. He had so many heartfelt scenes this season. He's probably the character that made me cry the most, I'd say, because of how attached I got to him. I can't really describe why, but he was just epic. It really showed how much he has changed from the beginning of the show, and the poem especially, like, it was a great description of Adam's character, the character that didn't have a heart, and now he realised he had a heart because he thought it stopped beating. He really does have a heart. He has such a big heart, and he loved Eric so much, and Eric let him down. But I'm glad he didn't succumb to Eric's pressurising, and he told him how to have sex when he was ready, and he told his mum, he came out to his mum when he was ready, even though he didn't necessarily need to anymore because him and Eric were broken up, but he did it because he was ready to do it then. What a great character. What a great season as well. It really changed my opinion on so many of the characters. This list looks so different to how it would have at the start of the season. I kind of wish I did one then, but I didn't expect my list to change so much. Thank you to everyone for joining me on my Sex Education Season 3 journey. Leave your opinions on all of these characters below. Or not all of them, so they will be very lengthy comments, but if you want to, go ahead. I will always read the comments and reply. But leave your opinions. Who are your god tier characters for season 3? Which characters do you think deserves the world? We all have different opinions. Don't give anyone hate for their opinion because we're all different. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!